Hello and welcome back, everybody. Shweebe here! And I just want to say thank you guys so much for everybody who's viewed the Portal Knights review video that I posted before. That really means a lot. And I know I got some negatives and some likes here and there, but you know what? To each his own. This is still a work in progress. I did get a lot of requests to actually make a legit walkthrough, so I figured, why not? We'll go ahead and do so. So, this is Portal Knights. For those of you who haven't actually played it or haven't seen any of the other previews for this, it is a sandbox RPG game, much like Minecraft and Terraria, but it has its own, I would say, uniqueness to it. It's a lot of fun, a really gorgeous game. What we're actually going to do is I'm going to create a brand new character and a brand new universe, and I'll try to be as in-depth as possible. And please remember, this is a beta game. I actually was misinformed at the time. I was told from a friend that it was a new game that was released. I thought it was done. So because it is a beta game, that means that there will be some more updates later on. This current release was just to see if there's any more bugs out there, and they really would like to have players let them know if there are any bugs. So far, I haven't come across any, but that doesn't mean that there isn't any that I haven't yet stumbled upon. So who knows, maybe we'll catch it in the gameplay and I'll send them a link to it. And I will also be sure to leave a link to Portal Knights game and through Steam in the comment section down below. So until then, let's go ahead and get started. So this is an old character for those of you who watched the previous video that I had. Don't even worry about that, we're going to start over. I'm going to keep it as a girl. And there was a correction that I had to make from the previous video as well. I thought that this was an archer class. It's actually a ranger class. I just assumed it was an archer because they automatically start off with a bow and arrow. The character can later get daggers and fist weapons, which are pretty freaking awesome. So hopefully we'll get to see those and I'll use them. They do also come with a warrior class, which is for your melee range characters, and then they do have the mage class, which, sadly enough, I'm not really good in mage or warrior classes in most games, so I'm going to stick with the ranger for this one. And they do have a decent amount of customization that you can do with these characters. They're freaking adorable, and you can even give them beards if you decide to make them male. It's just cute. Alright, yeah, why not? Alright, and it gives you all kinds of different eye shapes. They're freaking adorable. Alright. I like the mouth. Alright. And my other character's already named Shweebe, so we're gonna name this one Sprinkles. Just because I like sprinkles. Who doesn't like sprinkles? Sprinkles are amazing. Okay. So, and just so you're aware, you can set the privacy of your games. Do private friends or local public. Local public, if anybody's in a network nearby you, or if you are linked up to your friends in the Steam accounts, you can play with each other. You can play up to a max of 4 people per universe, which is a lot of fun. In some cases, it can be a little annoying. We're going to keep the session private, that way we aren't interrupted halfway through. Alright. You can also join other players' networks if they are open at the time, just by clicking join. And in some cases, it may just link you up with whoever is nearby to you, which can be a lot of fun. Alright. Oh, and you can have a max of 5 characters total and a max of 3 universes total. So we're just going to go ahead and create a new world. You can't name the universes right now, which, for me, that's kind of fine because I really can't stand having to come up with names for them. But for those who like to name the worlds, that way they know which one is which, that might be a thing that they can look into. So let's go ahead and play. In the forgotten days, the world was peaceful and whole. But the fracture arrived and tore the realm apart. Now the only connection between disparate lands are the ancient portals. And they are guarded by covetous fiends who thrive in the darkness. The world awaits heroes who will restore light to the portals and reunite the peaceful realm. that would be the intro to the game that I missed when I initially started playing, because at the time I was helping somebody else with their game. So now I know what the beginning storyline is. Okay. I moved my screen down to the bottom left corner just so you guys can actually see all the quests that I'll be talking about, and so you can see the health bar and the mana bar, which is useful in just about any class that you have. So, we're going to start off with our quest. It's a very basic movement, pretty standard, WSAD to move around. You can look around with your mouse, which it does give you a pretty full 3D effect for just about everything. You can attack monsters with your left click. And to dodge, this took me a while to figure out how to dodge. You can't attack and dodge at the same time. So whilst you're attacking a monster, you literally have to stop attacking to dodge. Oops, that wasn't the one I wanted to attack. You. Hold still. You literally have to stop what you're doing just to dodge and get out of the way. Which I think is kind of fair, because if you're able to dodge and attack at the same time, this game might be a little too easy. And I do like a bit of a challenge. Alright, so let's see. Open the backpack. So you can open your backpack by pressing B, and you can move anything that you acquire down into your ready to use buttons down here, which your ready to use buttons are all your numbers 1 through 9. Pretty standard stuff, I think. Alright. This game can be played in both first person and third person view, just by clicking the middle button on your mouse. Me personally, when it comes to fighting or just basic navigation, I prefer to do that in third person, just because it's easier to get a feel for what's going on. When it comes to digging or building, first person is the way to go. That's just my preference in general. Okay, so let's see. Oh! We're gonna go... Alright. And in the first world, which is Peaceful Hills, they will give you 3 quests just to get you started on the game, really. There's a mining quest. There is it's considered an exploration quest. You have to go down into that castle-looking thing. And then there is a home quest, which I believe is that one way over there. Alright. Now, I am actually going to show you mining and harvesting, because this, again, took me a little while to figure out how you're supposed to do that. When I first got in the game, I realized that I can harvest with my weapon. The only problem is, if you notice, that it takes away quite a bit of your durability. So it's not really worth it, especially early on in the game, to continuously use your weapon just to harvest or to mine. Now, you can use your fist, which I think is pretty freaking nuts, because your character is literally just pounding away at this thing with their fists, and it doesn't drain your health or anything like that. Later on, you will acquire a pickaxe, which you'll need wood logs and stone in order to do so. And I'm going to go ahead and just make this big enough to get in here, and we will get the pickaxe a little later. And as you're digging around, or as you're traveling through the different dungeons that you'll come across, there will be these treasure chests. Now, each of them are pretty unique in their own right. Let's see. This one gave me a really rare ore, as rare as it can get for the beginning of the game, cotton, some portal stone shards, and healing potions. Early on, healing potions, as many as you can get, is amazing. And I'm actually going to go over everything, so just bear with me here. There's a lot to go over first on. Anytime you come across a treasure chest, the items in there will always be random. You can, and it's always worth looking for them too, because in some cases you can get what are called recipes. The recipes can have anything ranging from really rare weapons and armor to weapons and armor that you can only find if you have the recipe. So it's definitely worth hunting down these items. Now, I am actually going to go over the items that we just picked up from the treasure chest that we picked up, because they're all very important in their own right. Cotton, you can find this stuff just about anywhere you go. In almost every world, up to a certain point, you can find cotton, which is very useful, because we'll need this actually to make our first set of armor. The raw electro quartz, if you are a mage, definitely hang on to any gems that you find, because you're going to need that as your base to make skills and different magical attacks. I don't know necessarily if the ranger or the warrior need them at this point in time, but when we do find out, I will definitely let you know. And the portal shards we actually need in order to travel to the different worlds. So when you've collected enough of them, you can actually form them into the cubes that you'll need to travel from place to place. We're actually going to save that for a little later, because I'm actually not sure where the portal is just yet in this place. Alright. Let's see. Well, you know what? Let's go check out the castle thingy, because we still need to go do that. Also, what I found out by accident in this game is there is no fall damage. So you can fall from literally any height, and it is not going to kill you. So, which can make places like this very easy to just get down to the bottom without having to worry about going all those flights of stairs, which can be quite annoying after a while. However, getting back up is not as easy. Oh, and when it comes to mining, you can literally pick up anything. Like, that includes these random furniture bits that you'll come across, which we're actually going to use to deck out our home once we get over there. I just like adding a bit of accent, that way it's got your own uniqueness to it, really. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to steal all these. Alright, and we found another treasure chest. What do you have? Alright. Yep, pretty much the same stuff we got before. Now, I could just go up the stairs, which might take me a good couple of minutes to get out of here. But a quicker way is, if you don't want to have to backtrack that damn far, just open up your world map by pressing M, and this little square bit here, click on that, it's going to take you right back to where you first started in the level. Very convenient feature, I think. And I actually found the portal on our way to the house. As I said before with the shards, there's two ways that you can actually make the cubes that you'll see right there. The first portal that you'll find will always have two cubes randomly placed within the center area. So I'm going to show you the first way, which is always convenient. You can either do this by opening up your backpack and going to the hand and hammer, or you can just press N. It'll open it just the same. And you're going to want to go to the second icon here. That's actually the portal symbol itself. So we're going to click on that. And it's actually one of our quests that we're supposed to do. You're going to click on the blue portal stone, because that's the only color we have right now. And you only need 2 shards to make 1 cube. Craft as many as you can, because it will save up a lot of space in your backpack. Alright. Oop. You actually have to set it in your ready to use buttons, or it's pointless. There we go. Now, in this instance, you are going to have to place them or build them, essentially. So make sure they're selected. Like I said, I find it's easier to build if you're in first person. Having opened the outgoing path, be wary of the invading wrath. With that, we have opened our very first portal. I'm not going to go in it just yet, because honestly, every new world that you go to, the monsters will always be a level or a couple of levels higher than you. We don't even have our armor. That is the plan for this video. We're going to get our armor. We won't be able to get our first weapon in this, because it is going to require some ore and materials that we will not be able to find here. So let's go ahead and head to the home, because that's actually where our next quest is. And as you'll notice, it is run down. Again, that's part of the quest. Anytime you come across like broken furnitures or crates, things like that, break them. They're always worth resources. In some cases, they'll give you like refined blocks. In other cases, break this, there'll be experience, there'll be a sharpening stone, which I definitely have to explain how to use that. Just 1 sec. So we're going to go ahead and clear out this area. And with that, the room itself is pretty clear. So if you notice, this thing here I can't actually break. That is our very first workbench, which we don't want to break in the first place. And we're actually going to have to repair that. We're going to need some wood logs. You can get the wood logs from trees, obviously, and in some cases, some bushes will offer it, but your best bet is just to go and find some trees and knock them down. So, but make sure that you look around all over the surrounding area of the home, because there's generally more resources for you to take advantage of. Like, there's always a garden section. Now, in some cases, it may seem really silly to have a garden when, oh, I can just go around and find the resources. But later on, when you go to the worlds where there's resources that don't grow in the first world or the first couple of worlds, just go ahead and plant them in your first world. It's not like they're particularly picky of what world they're in to grow. So, we're actually going to make a garden, but I'm going to say that for a little later. What's convenient is that the garden itself has 7 bits of cotton, which we're going to need to make armor. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest those. Oh, well, apparently I'm harvesting the tree first. That's fine, because I need that too. Fantastic. Alright, actually. Alright, because I kind of don't want to use my weapon. Alright. And each time that you knock down a resource, at least pertaining to any kind of plant life, there'll always be a seed left behind, which is incredibly useful, especially if you're trying to keep up with a garden. So, it's very rare that you'll ever run out of the resource itself, provided that you are continuously planting after you chop it down or whatever. I don't know as of right now if anything respawns within a given amount of time. I'm not entirely sure on that. I've played at least 16 hours worth. I haven't seen anything respawn within that amount of time that I can say with my own eyes that's what happens. So it's in your best bet, it's just better. Just go ahead and plant anything that you remove. Unfortunately, when it comes to ore, I don't know if that respawns at this point in time. So hopefully when we get that far, we'll have a legitimate answer for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix this furnace. I think we have enough bits. Oh, never mind. We need one more. I'm just gonna punch you. How about that? Alright, that should be enough right there. Fantastic. Ta-da! Now that the workbench is actually upgraded, it's now functional, we can start using it. And I'm actually going to go over all the tabs here, as quickly as I can though. First tab is blocks and ingredients. Plain and simple. Any kind of materials that you come across, you can make the different building blocks that you'll need, and you can also use it to make like cotton cloth, which you'll need in order to make your armor. I've already told you about the second one. The third one is to make your other crafting stations and furnitures. The furniture is purely if you want to deck out your home. I like decking out my home, but I'm gonna do that in my own time, essentially. But what we really want to get is the different workstations, which I think the only thing we're going to be able to get in this world will just be the furnace. Okay, so that's fine. The other bits we're not going to be able to get until we go and get copper ore, which in the first world there's absolutely no ore, which is fine. You don't want to be god modded once you actually start getting out into the real worlds. Alright. Oh! We can go ahead and make our stone pickaxe, which is fantastic. Let's go ahead and do that. That one didn't even take any time. It just goes right into your pouch. And we will need sharpening stones. Like I said, I'll show you how to use those. And weapons, it just has the 3 basic weapons for each class. An electric apprentice wand for the mage, wood bow for the ranger, and wooden sword for the warrior. Each class can technically use any of these weapons, but it's best to just stick with you know best, because your base stats is going to determine what that weapon's usefulness will really be to you. So in my case, I could use a wooden sword, but it's better off for me to use a wooden bow. The next icon is our armor, which we're definitely going to want to do, but I clearly do not have enough cotton cloth. I don't even think I made any cotton cloth, to be honest. I did not. Okay. And there's something I want to point out, because I didn't catch on to this until a little later in the game. If you notice, right above the craft, it says it takes 1 second to make this item. That may not seem like a big deal, but later on, you will come across items that is going to take you, in real time, a couple of minutes. Even so far as 5 minutes is probably the most amount of time that I've had to wait. This I could see as being a good thing and possibly a bad thing, because for some people, they just want the item, they want it now. In some cases, if you know, you just want to go and set that up and then go off and do something else real quick, it's kind of a time saver, but, you know, everybody has their own opinion on it. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. The ones that are 1 second are perfectly fine, but when you get to the ones that get closer to a few minutes, it's really annoying to have to sit there and wait. I think they just kind of added it that way, just as, like, an extra feature to the game, really, to make it more challenging. Alright, we were in armor. Oh, and make sure you actually click on the item there, because if you don't, it's not actually going to go into your backpack. When you exit, the workstation is still going to say, hey, you have something done. You can't make anything else until you pick up this item. Alright, so let's go ahead and make our armor. Let me explain the armor bits here first. The bottom ones down here in the red are for the warrior, the green ones here in the middle are for the ranger, and the blue ones up at top are for the mage. Now, my opinion on this is fine. It's when you get later into the game when it comes to the armor, it gets a little confusing, because for me, I couldn't figure out which armor class, or which armor I was supposed to be wearing. It got so confusing because later on in the game, it gets to the point where each class will have 3 different types of armor, but they kind of almost look the same, so it was very confusing. I think if the creators would like set up different tabs, like if your class is a ranger or one of the other classes, they would have tabs where you just click on ranger and all the armors that you have unlocked would just be right there for you to pick through and say, I want this one for whatever bonus. That might make things a lot easier. Alright, so what did we just make? Thought we made the tunic. Oh, we did not. Okay, so let's go ahead and make the tunic. Pants. Alright. We are going to be 1 short, aren't we? Yep. Okay, so we'll hold off on that for just a second. Now, the skills section and the consumables section. Once we get the altar up and running, that's where these two are going to have their main focus on, is their skills and your consumables, which is also why you'll need the garden. The garden itself is actually going to help with a lot of the consumables, which will be your healing potions or like your armor potions and things like that. The skills themselves, remember that raw electric orb that we found before, or the gem? That's what you're going to need in order to make any of the other skills later on. And you'll need like refined ores or gems. You're going to need like refined gems, possibly their dust, which we'll find later on in some of the later videos. And this one is just miscellaneous stuff. I'm pretty sure it kind of coincides with the furniture aspect, but the torches is actually a useful tool. The fireplace, I don't know if it actually has anything significant outside of it looks cool at this point in time, but if anybody has any information on it, please feel free to let me know. And this last section is just like I showed you before, is to upgrade. We won't be able to upgrade until we actually start getting some more copper ore. Alright. How about we go ahead and finish off making our armor. Whoa. I don't know how deep that goes, but we will look into that a little later. We need to find some cotton plants. Oh, found some. See, like I said, if I had gone ahead and planted, I would already have a garden going. So once I get back, I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. Alright. Cotton seeds. Anytime you plant seeds, it's pretty much just like placing blocks. For me, I find it easier just to be in first person. And the reach that you can get with both digging and building is pretty far, which I find to be very convenient, because I don't want to have to be like this close every time just to place down one single block. That would actually drive me insane, and I think most others insane as well. So the fact that you can like place it all the way over there and it's still good is amazing. Oh, okay, whatever. I don't know what these are, but I'm planting them too, just so they're out of my bag. Yeah, and as you notice, as you go collecting the different resources, you're going to end up with a lot of seeds. So I think you go ahead and plant them nearby. You don't necessarily have to plant every single seed that you come across. You can always just toss them simply by opening B and putting them in the trash can here. Just understand, if you do that with every seed that you come across, it's possible you may end up wiping out that resource altogether. So be very careful with what you do. Alright, with that, I think we have enough to make our last piece of armor. We're going to make the cotton cloth. We made 2 bits, go into our armor section, and we needed the cap. Alright, and with that, don't forget to actually equip any of the armor or weapons that you make. You can press V to open it, or just click on the helmet. And as you'll notice right now, I am actually equipped with absolutely nothing. I am squishy as squish can be. So we're just going to click on the empty boxes here, and then just select your newly made armor. Don't you look so spiffy? And when you do first start off, you are given a beginner's cape, or a pioneer's cape. The skills on it are kind of shit, but for a character who literally starts off with nothing, that's still pretty good. And it's got a cool swirly thingy, which I think is awesome. And this last bit is for rings. We're not going to get rings until I think the next set of armor and accessories, so we'll save that for later. Alright, and if I'm correct, I think we can't make our next weapon until later as well. Yep, we actually have to upgrade our workbench before we can even make the next weapon. So, then our next to-do list is we actually have to rebuild the farm. So, I'm actually going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to speed up this process, so just bear with me. And as you guys will notice that per time that I'm actually knocking stuff down, it is dropping the random items. Just keep an eyeball. If it's a resource that you want, try not to dig too much, because I'm not sure what the max number is or what the max amount of time is, but they will fade away after a while. So it's best just to, if it's something that you want, make sure you're on top of it. But if it's a resource that you don't necessarily need, like dirt, which you will end up with 400 bits really quick, then see, if you see that one's blinking out, it's going to disappear. So I think it gives you like 30 seconds to pick them up, give or take. I'm not sure. Just, you know, a forewarning, really. would actually be a perfect time to show you guys how to use the sharpening stone. Because again, this was another item that took me a while to figure out how to use, or exactly what I was supposed to do with it. So, the sharpening stone literally looks like just this black little nail file of sorts. So I'm just going to drag that down into my ready to use items. Now, I have my pickaxe selected. Now, all you gotta do is literally just use whatever number that it's hooked onto. I felt like a real twit when I finally figured out that's what I was supposed to do. It's a usable item. So, all you do is click on it, and it has a cooldown time of like 5 seconds, give or take, and it will literally make your pickaxe usable again. I didn't realize that until a little later, so I ended up throwing away a weapon thinking it was completely useless. So you'll never have to do that. Just make sharpening stones and the item is reusable once again. Now, back to building. Okay, and with that, the house is complete. I know you're like, why did I just watch this to see you make a completely flat house? The reason for that is simple. I'm actually intending to make a second story, but I'm going to save that for later once I actually have some of the better resources. Because I'd like to use stone, and this world has some, but there are cooler stones out there in some of the later worlds. And I actually intend to build a basement, but that's going to take up a lot of time. So, and I actually did deck it out, as you'll notice. I used the fire bowls that I found in the other dungeons. If you come across any kind of knick-knack or like statues, things like that that you want to use to accent your home, go ahead and peg them sons of bitches until they wind up in your pocket, because they are definitely a takeable item. It's always worth it. Alright. And oh, you also are given this little flag thing that also has the swirly swooshy bit on it, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I think we're gonna hold off for there. The next adventure is I'm gonna finish off some of the finer details in this world, and then we're gonna definitely go and take a peek at the next world. Until then, I hope you guys have fully enjoyed. I'm having a lot of fun with this game. Like I said, I will leave a link to Steam, to its community. That way, if you guys have any questions, or if you notice any bugs along the way, or if you just like to purchase it, it is fairly priced, I think, for such a great game, just to kill some time, essentially. Feel free to like, fave, subscribe. I will see you in the next episode.